Imagine you are lying in bed late at night, your body exhausted but your mind wide awake. Thoughts race through your head. What you said earlier in the day, what you should have done differently, what might go wrong tomorrow. You want to sleep, but your mind won't let you. No matter how much you try, the thoughts keep coming, pulling you into an endless loop of worry and doubt. Why does the mind do this? Why do simple thoughts turn into storms that refuse to settle? Have you ever found yourself overanalyzing a single conversation, replaying it over and over, wondering if you said the right thing? Have you ever worried about the future so much that it ruined your present moment? Overthinking can feel like an unstoppable force, making life feel heavy, stressful, and exhausting. Think about this. You are sitting with a friend, but instead of enjoying the moment, your mind is elsewhere. You're wondering if they really like you, if you said something wrong, if they secretly judge you. The moment passes, but you weren't fully there. This is the trap of overthinking. It steals the joy from our lives without us even realizing it. Welcome to Wisdom Woven, a place where ancient Buddhist wisdom meets modern life. If you find yourself trapped in your own thoughts, unable to enjoy the present, you are in the right place. In this video, we will explore 7 powerful Buddhist teachings that can help you break free from overthinking and find peace. These teachings are simple, yet deeply transformative, so stay with us until the end. You won't want to miss this. There are so many views on this channel, but only 0.2% subscribe. If you enjoy content that helps you grow, why not support us? Please like, comment, share, and subscribe to our channel. And don't forget, drop your thoughts in the comments. What is the biggest thing you overthink about? Let's talk about it. Buddhism offers profound wisdom on how to calm the restless mind. Unlike other approaches, it doesn't tell you to fight your thoughts or suppress them. Instead, it teaches you how to understand them, how to observe them without getting trapped. This is where true peace begins. Overthinking comes from attachment to the past, the future, and to thoughts themselves. When we hold on too tightly to our thoughts, we give them power. But what if we learn to let go? What if we could see thoughts for what they are? Just passing clouds in the sky of our mind. The Buddha understood this struggle over 2,500 years ago. He saw how the mind creates suffering, not because of the world itself, but because of how we react to it. Through his teachings, we can learn to break free from this cycle, to step back, breathe, and find clarity in the chaos. One of the first lessons in Buddhism is awareness. The moment you notice that you are overthinking, you have already taken the first step. Most people don't even realize they are caught in their thoughts. But once you see it, you have the power to change it. Imagine sitting by a river, watching the water flow. The river doesn't stop, it doesn't cling to any moment, it just flows. Thoughts are the same. The problem begins when we try to hold on to them, when we take them too seriously, when we believe that every thought is important. But what if we could just watch them pass? This is the heart of mindfulness, a practice that allows us to see thoughts without being controlled by them. It is one of the most powerful tools Buddhism offers, and in the next part, we will explore why our minds wander in the first place, and what we can do about it. Stay with us, because this journey is just beginning. The nature of overthinking, why the mind wanders. Sit down, take a deep breath, and listen carefully. The mind is like a monkey, always jumping from one branch to another. It never stays still, always moving, always restless. One moment it thinks about the past, another moment it worries about the future. Rarely does it stay in the present. This is the nature of overthinking. Have you ever noticed how your mind creates problems that don't even exist? You wake up in the morning, and suddenly a thought appears. What if today goes wrong? And just like that, your peace is gone. The mind starts running, creating stories, imagining outcomes, making you feel anxious before anything has even happened. But why does the mind do this? Why does it wander so much? The answer is simple. It is its nature. Just like fire burns and water flows, the mind thinks. It creates thoughts, one after another, without stopping. But here is the mistake. You believe every thought is important. You believe that every worry, every doubt, every fear needs your attention. But that is not true. Let me give you an example. Imagine you are sitting by a road, watching cars pass by. Some cars are big, some are small, some are fast, some are slow. You don't run after them, do you? You simply watch. Thoughts are like these cars. But instead of watching them pass, you run after them, trying to catch them, trying to control them. And this is where the suffering begins. The Buddha saw this long ago. He understood that the mind is always moving, always producing thoughts. But he also realized something very important. You are not your thoughts. Just because a thought appears, it does not mean you have to believe it. Just because the mind worries, it does not mean the worry is real. Think about this. How many times have you worried about something that never actually happened? How many nights have you lost sleep over imaginary problems? The mind is like a storyteller, always creating new stories, always making things seem bigger than they really are. And here's the truth. Thoughts only have power if you give them power. If you stop reacting, if you stop believing every little thought, they lose their strength. They come and go, like clouds in the sky. But the sky does not hold on to the clouds, does it? It lets them pass. Now, let's go deeper. Why does the mind wander so much? There are three main reasons. First, desire. The mind is always searching for something. More success, more happiness, more comfort. It is never satisfied. Even when you have everything you need, it will find something else to chase. And because it is always chasing, it can never be at peace. Second, fear. The mind does not like uncertainty. It wants to control everything, to know what will happen next. But life is unpredictable. No matter how much you think, no matter how much you plan, you cannot control the future. And the more you try, the more anxious you become. Third, habit. Overthinking is a habit, just like anything else. If you have spent years worrying, analyzing, and repeating thoughts, the mind will continue to do it automatically. It does not know another way. But just as you learn to overthink, you can also unlearn it. So what is the solution? How do you stop the mind from running in circles? The first step is awareness. You must catch yourself in the act of overthinking. The moment you notice, my mind is doing it again, you have already broken the pattern. You are no longer lost in thought. You have stepped outside of it. The second step is letting go. Instead of fighting your thoughts, simply watch them. Do not react, do not chase them. Let them come, let them go. Like waves in the ocean, they will rise, they will fall, but they do not define you. And the third step is returning to the present moment. Overthinking pulls you into the past or the future, but peace is only found in now. The breath you are taking, the sounds around you, the feeling of the ground beneath you. This is reality, not the thoughts in your mind. Let me tell you a short story. A student once came to a Zen master and said, "Master, my mind is full of worries. It never stops thinking. What should I do?" The master smiled and said, "Go to the river, take a cup, and fill it with water. Then hold it still." The student did as he was told, but no matter how hard he tried, the water kept moving. "Master, the water won't stay still," the student said. The master replied, "Now, put the cup down and wait." The student set the cup on the ground. After a few moments, the water became still. The master said, "This is the way of the mind. If you try to control it, it will only become more restless. But if you let it be, it will settle on its own." This is the key. Stop trying to control the mind. Overthinking does not stop by force. It stops when you stop feeding it, when you stop chasing thoughts, when you stop believing every little story the mind tells you. Remember, the mind will always create thoughts. That is its job. But you have a choice. You can get lost in them, or you can step back and watch. The moment you understand this, overthinking loses its power. In the next part, we will explore something even more powerful, the teaching of impermanence. Understanding this can change the way you see your thoughts, your worries, and even your life. So take a deep breath, let go of your thoughts, and prepare to see the world in a new way. Impermanence, the art of letting go. Sit with me for a moment. Take a deep breath. Now, tell me, have you ever held on to a thought so tightly that it felt like it became part of you? Maybe it was something someone said to you, something painful. Maybe it was a regret, something you wished you had done differently. Or maybe it was a dream, something you wanted so badly that the thought of losing it filled you with fear. The mind loves to hold on. It clings to memories, to expectations, to fears. But do you know what the Buddha taught? Nothing stays the same. Everything changes. This is the truth of impermanence. And once you understand it, once you truly feel it, you will see how much freedom it brings. Think about the waves in the ocean. They rise, they fall. No wave stays forever. But what if a wave refused to let go? What if it tried to stay frozen in place, resisting the natural rhythm of the ocean? It would struggle, it would fight, and in the end, it would still have to disappear. This is what happens when we resist change. Imagine you are holding a handful of sand. If you squeeze too tightly, what happens? The sand slips through your fingers. But if you hold it gently, with an open palm, it stays. Life is like this. The more we try to control everything, the more we suffer. But when we accept that things come and go, we find peace. Overthinking is born from resistance. The mind refuses to let go of what has already passed, or worries too much about what is yet to come. But look around you. Is anything truly permanent? The seasons change. People change. Even the body you live in is not the same as it was when you were a child. Everything is moving, flowing, transforming. Let me tell you a story. There was once a monk who carried a beautiful ceramic cup. He loved this cup. It was perfect in size, smooth to the touch, and he used it every day. One day, someone asked him, "Aren't you afraid of breaking it?" The monk smiled and said, "To me, this cup is already broken." What did he mean? He meant that one day, no matter what, the cup would break. Instead of fearing it, instead of clinging to it, he had already accepted its impermanence. So every time he drank from it, he appreciated it fully, knowing it was here only for a short time. This is how we must see everything in life. Now, think about the things you are holding on to. Are you clinging to the past? Are you afraid of the future? Are you struggling because you don't want things to change? The truth is, everything is already changing. Nothing you hold on to is as solid as it seems. Maybe you had a moment of happiness last week, but instead of enjoying it, you keep thinking, "I wish I could feel that way again." Or maybe someone hurt you, and even though the moment is long gone, you still replay it in your mind. But tell me, where is that moment now? Can you touch it? Can you bring it back? No, it has already dissolved, just like a wave returning to the sea. The mind, however, refuses to let go so easily. It wants to keep what feels good and reject what feels bad. But suffering comes from this attachment. The Buddha compared it to holding a hot coal. If you refuse to drop it, who gets burned? You do. So how do we learn to let go? The first step is awareness. When you find yourself caught in a thought, stop. Ask yourself, am I holding on to something that has already passed? Am I trying to control something that hasn't even happened yet? Simply noticing this will loosen the grip of overthinking. The second step is to observe without attachment. Picture your thoughts as clouds in the sky. Some are dark and heavy, some are light and soft. But no cloud stays forever. Watch them pass. Don't chase them, don't fight them, just let them be. The third step is to accept change, rather than fear it. Many people think letting go means giving up, but that's not true. Letting go means making space for new experiences, for new joy, for new wisdom. When you clear the clutter in your mind, you create room for something greater. Let me give you another example. Imagine you are carrying a heavy bag on your back. Inside are all your worries, your regrets, your fears. You've been carrying it for so long that you've forgotten what it feels like to be without it. But what if I told you that you could put it down, right now? That you don't have to carry it anymore? Wouldn't that feel lighter? Wouldn't that feel free? This is the gift of impermanence. It teaches us that nothing, no matter how painful, will last forever. And this is not something to fear. It is something to celebrate, because it also means that no matter how dark the night, the sun will rise again. When you truly understand impermanence, you stop wasting your energy on things you cannot change. You stop fearing the future, because you know that even if challenges come, they too will pass. You stop clinging to the past, because you see that every moment is a new beginning. The next time you catch yourself overthinking, stop and ask, is this thought permanent? The answer will always be no. Thoughts come, thoughts go, just like the wind, just like the waves, just like everything in life. Breathe, let go, and trust that whatever comes next, you are strong enough to face it. In the next part, we will go deeper into how mindfulness can help us break free from overthinking, how simply being present can change everything. But for now, just sit with this truth. Nothing lasts forever, and that is a beautiful thing. Mindfulness, living in the present moment. Close your eyes for a moment and just breathe. Feel the air entering your lungs. Feel it leaving. Nothing else matters right now. Just this moment. Just this breath. But how often do we live this way? How often are we truly present? Most people live either in the past or in the future. They wake up thinking about yesterday, what went wrong, what they should have done differently. Or they worry about tomorrow, what might happen, what could go wrong, what they need to prepare for. But life is not in the past, and it is not in the future. Life is happening now. The only moment that truly exists is this one. Yet, the mind loves to wander. You could be eating your favorite meal, but instead of enjoying each bite, you are lost in thought, thinking about work, about a conversation, about something that hasn't even happened yet. You could be walking in nature, surrounded by beauty, but instead of seeing it, you are caught in memories of the past. This is how overthinking steals life from you. Buddhism teaches a simple but powerful truth. The mind creates suffering when it leaves the present moment. The more we think about things that are not happening right now, the more we suffer. The solution? Come back. Again and again. Come back to now. Mindfulness is not complicated. It is not something you need to achieve. It is simply paying attention. Right now, as you listen to this, notice your breath. Notice how your body feels. Notice the space around you. That's it. That's mindfulness. The problem is, people think too much about mindfulness itself. They try too hard. They think it means controlling thoughts, but it doesn't. Mindfulness is not about stopping thoughts. It is about seeing them clearly, without getting lost in them. Imagine sitting by a river. The water flows, but you don't try to stop it. You don't jump in and get carried away. You just watch. This is how you must treat your thoughts. Let them come, let them go. Just don't follow them. Overthinking is like being caught in a storm. The wind is strong, the rain is heavy, and you feel lost. But mindfulness is like standing under a shelter. The storm is still there, but it does not touch you. You see it, but you are safe. Some people think mindfulness means you must sit still and meditate for hours, but that's not true. You can practice mindfulness anywhere, anytime. While drinking tea, feel the warmth of the cup in your hands. While walking, feel the ground beneath your feet. While talking to someone, really listen, instead of thinking about what to say next. Every moment is an opportunity to come back to now. The Buddha once said, "Do not dwell on the past, do not dream of the future, concentrate the mind on the present moment." This is the key to peace. The past is already gone. No amount of thinking can change it. The future is not here yet. No amount of worrying can control it. But this moment is yours. And if you learn to live fully in this moment, your overthinking will start to fade. Think about how much time you have lost in unnecessary thoughts. How many moments have passed where you were physically present, but mentally somewhere else? The mind loves to create problems, even when none exist. It keeps thinking, planning, analyzing, worrying, like a machine that never stops. But ask yourself, what if I don't need to think right now? What if I can just be? This is what mindfulness teaches. It teaches you to trust the present moment, to let go of the illusion that thinking more will solve everything. Yes, thinking is useful, but only when it is needed. Most of the time, we are not thinking, we are overthinking. And that is where suffering begins. Try this. The next time you catch yourself overthinking, pause. Take a deep breath. Feel the air moving in and out. Look around. Notice where you are. Remind yourself, I am here. This moment is enough. You don't need a perfect plan for the future. You don't need to figure everything out at once. You just need to take care of this moment, and the next moment will take care of itself. Many people think they need more knowledge, more solutions, more answers. But often, the answer is less. Less thinking, less worrying, less trying to control everything. Just being present. Just trusting life. Imagine a still lake. When the water is calm, you can see your reflection clearly. But if you throw stones into it, if you stir it up, the image becomes distorted. The mind is the same way. When it is calm, you see things clearly. But when it is full of thoughts, everything feels confusing. This is why mindfulness is so powerful. It calms the mind, so you can see reality as it is, not as your thoughts make it seem. Then once you see clearly, overthinking loses its power. Of course, the mind will resist at first. It will try to pull you back into thinking. It will say, "This is boring. You should be planning, solving, analyzing." But don't listen. Just watch. Be the observer, not the thinker. And soon, you will notice something incredible. Peace was always there. It was just hidden under the noise. So the next time you feel lost in thought, remember this. You don't need to escape your mind. You just need to step back and watch. Overthinking cannot survive in the present moment. The more you come back to now, the more free you become. Let this be your practice, not tomorrow, not someday, but now. Because now is all there is. Non-attachment, freeing yourself from mental clutter. Sit down for a moment. Breathe in, breathe out. Now, ask yourself, what is truly weighing on your mind? Is it a problem at work? A mistake from the past? A fear about the future? Whatever it is, hold that thought for just a second. Now, imagine placing it in your palm, like a small leaf. Can you see it? Can you feel its weight? Now, let it go. Open your hand. Watch it drift away. Most people never do this. They hold on to every thought, every worry, every little thing that doesn't go their way. They cling to their emotions, their desires, their fears, believing that these things are a part of them. But is that true? Are you your thoughts? Or are you something deeper, something freer? The Buddha once said, "You only lose what you cling to." Think about that for a moment. What if the reason you feel overwhelmed, restless, or anxious is not because life is difficult, but because you are holding on too tightly, holding on to control, holding on to expectations, holding on to what you think should happen, instead of accepting what is happening? Imagine you are walking through a beautiful garden. The sky is clear, the air is fresh, the flowers bloom all around you. But instead of enjoying the walk, you keep picking flowers and stuffing them into your pockets. You grab more and more, afraid to leave any behind. But soon, your pockets are overflowing. The flowers start to wilt. You can't carry them all, and now, instead of feeling joy, you feel burdened. This is what we do with our thoughts. We collect them. We hold them. We believe they are precious, even when they no longer serve us. And in doing so, we lose the simple beauty of the present moment. But here's the truth. You don't have to carry everything. You don't have to overthink every situation. You don't have to replay old conversations in your head. You don't have to fear the future. You can put it down. You can walk freely, without the weight of unnecessary thoughts. People think letting go is difficult. They say, "But I can't stop thinking about it. I don't know how to let go." But letting go is not something you force. It's something you allow. When you open your hand, the leaf does not need effort to fall. It simply drifts away. Your mind works the same way. Thoughts will come and go. Worries will appear and disappear. But you are not your thoughts. You are the sky, and thoughts are just passing clouds. If you do not chase them, they will move on their own. But why do we hold on? Why do we cling to things that hurt us? It is because of attachment, the belief that we need something to be happy. I need this job to be secure. I need this person to love me. I need everything to go perfectly. But when we attach ourselves to these things, we become afraid of losing them. And fear is the root of suffering. Imagine a man holding a rope tied to a heavy rock. He drags it everywhere, struggling under its weight. He complains that life is hard, that his journey is exhausting. He dreams of being free. But all he needs to do is let go of the rope. Just open his hands, and the rock will no longer be his burden. This is what the Buddha teaches. You suffer not because of the rock, but because you refuse to let it go. But what if it's important, you may ask? What if I can't let go? Letting go does not mean you stop caring. It does not mean you run away from life. It simply means you stop clinging. You stop believing that every thought, every situation, every person must be exactly as you want them to be. You accept life as it is, and you move with it instead of against it. Think of a river. Water flows freely. It does not argue. It does not resist. When it meets a rock, it simply moves around it. The river does not stop flowing because of obstacles, it adapts. And yet, it reaches the ocean without fail. If you live like water, your mind will find peace. But the mind will try to pull you back. It will say, "No, I must think about this. I must solve this. I must control everything." And when that happens, just ask yourself, is this thought helping me or hurting me? Most of the time, you will find that overthinking does not solve anything. It only makes you tired. It drains your energy. It creates problems that do not exist. So why hold on? Practice this. When a thought troubles you, see it, acknowledge it, and then let it pass. If it is important, it will return when the time is right. If it is not, it will fade away. You do not need to fight your thoughts. You simply need to stop grabbing onto them. There is a Zen saying, "Let go," or be dragged. So, what will you choose? Will you keep holding onto the rope, or will you open your hands and let the rock fall? Your peace is not found in the past or the future. It is not found in controlling everything. It is found in this moment, right here, right now. When you let go of mental clutter, when you stop chasing every thought, you will realize something. You were never trapped at all. The door was open the whole time. Now, take a deep breath. Look around. Life is happening right now. Don't miss it by holding on to things that no longer serve you. Let go and be free. The middle way, balancing thought and action. Do you ever feel trapped between two extremes? One moment, you are lost in thought, analyzing every little detail. The next moment, you tell yourself to stop thinking and just act. But then you hesitate, afraid of making the wrong choice. Back and forth, like a boat caught between waves, never settling, never at peace. This is the struggle of overthinking. Too much thinking leads to inaction, yet acting without thought can lead to mistakes. So what is the right way? Is there a path between these two? Yes. This is what the Buddha called the middle way. Not too much, not too little, not extreme control, not complete carelessness. A balance, a way to walk through life without getting lost in either overthinking or blind action. Imagine you are holding a string instrument. If the strings are too loose, they won't make any sound. If they are too tight, they will snap. Only when they are balanced will they create beautiful music. The same is true for the mind. If you think too much, you create stress, confusion, and fear. If you don't think at all, you become reckless, making choices without wisdom. The secret is balance. But how do we find this balance? How do we stop ourselves from getting trapped in thought without making impulsive decisions? The answer is simple: awareness. Most people don't even realize when they are overthinking. The mind pulls them in, and before they know it, they are drowning in endless thoughts. But the moment you become aware, I am thinking too much again, you create space between yourself and your thoughts. You see them, instead of being lost in them. When you start noticing your thoughts, something magical happens. You realize that not all thoughts are useful. Some thoughts help you plan, guide you toward wise actions. Others are just noise, repeating worries and doubts that lead nowhere. The problem is, most people treat all thoughts as important. But the truth is, many thoughts are just distractions. So what can you do? Imagine your thoughts as visitors knocking on your door. Some visitors bring useful messages. These are the thoughts worth listening to. But others just bring gossip, fear, or unnecessary worries. Do you have to invite them all in? No. You can choose which ones to welcome and which ones to ignore. Finding the middle way means learning when to listen to your thoughts and when to let them go. It means asking yourself, is this thought helping me or just making me anxious? If it is helping, use it. If not, let it pass like a cloud in the sky. But balance is not just about thoughts, it is also about action. Many people overthink because they are afraid of making mistakes. They want everything to be perfect before they act. But here's the truth. Thinking alone won't give you all the answers. Some things can only be learned through experience. Imagine trying to learn how to swim by just reading books. You can study every technique, every movement, but until you step into the water, you won't truly understand. The same is true for life. You can think and plan, but at some point, you must take action. The middle way teaches us when to think and when to act. Before making a choice, think clearly, but don't get stuck in endless loops. Once you have thought enough, Let go of fear and take the step forward. A traveler once asked the Buddha, "How do I find peace? My mind is always restless." The Buddha smiled and said, "If you pull the string too tight, it will snap. If you leave it too loose, it will not play. Find the middle. This is the key. If you find yourself trapped in overthinking, relax. Not too much, but just enough. If you find yourself acting without thinking, pause. Not for too long, but just enough to make a wise choice. The middle way is not about being perfect. It is about learning to flow with life, to find wisdom in thought and courage in action. It is a path of freedom, a way to live without being controlled by fear or impulse. So the next time you find yourself caught between thinking and acting, remember, balance is the answer. Walk the middle path, and you will find peace. Meditation, a tool to calm the racing mind. Sit down, breathe in, breathe out. Feel the air as it moves through your body. Let everything else be as it is. Your thoughts may come, let them. Your thoughts may go, let them. This is meditation. But right now, your mind is restless, isn't it? It jumps from one thought to another, never stopping, never settling. You close your eyes, hoping to find peace, but instead, your thoughts only seem to grow louder. They pull you into memories, worries, plans, regrets. Why does this happen? Why can't the mind be quiet? Because the mind is like a wild horse. It does not want to be still. It has been running for so long that it believes movement is its natural state. Even when you try to calm it, it resists. But what if, instead of trying to stop it, you simply watched it? This is what meditation teaches. You do not fight your mind. You do not try to force it into silence. You just observe. You sit and watch as thoughts come and go. You begin to see that thoughts are not enemies. They are like clouds in the sky. Some are dark, heavy with storm. Some are light, barely there. But none of them stay forever. The mistake most people make is believing that meditation means no thoughts. This is not true. Meditation is not about stopping thoughts. It is about not holding on to them. Right now, you believe every thought is important. If a bad memory comes, you grab it. If a worry appears, you hold on. If a doubt arises, you let it take control. But what if you let them all pass? What if you stopped believing that every thought needed your attention? Imagine sitting by a river. The water flows, always moving, never stopping. You can reach in, try to grab the water, but what happens? It slips through your fingers. This is the same with thoughts. If you try to grab them, they will only make you struggle. But if you sit back and watch, you will see that they always pass. This is the power of meditation. It does not stop the river. It teaches you to sit by the river and watch without falling in. But still, you might say, I can't meditate. My mind is too busy. I get frustrated. I can't sit still. And that is exactly why you need it. A beginner sits in meditation and expects immediate peace. But when the mind does not obey, frustration grows. Why is this so hard? Why can't I stop thinking? But this is the test. If you can sit with the frustration, if you can watch the impatience arise and not react, you are already meditating. The goal is not to feel peaceful every time you sit. The goal is to see clearly. Close your eyes. Listen to the sounds around you. Your breath, the wind, the distant noise of life happening. All of this is real, happening right now. But where is your mind? Is it in the past, reliving old conversations? Is it in the future, making stories that do not exist yet? The mind rarely stays where life is happening. It is always somewhere else. Meditation brings it back. And it is not difficult. You do not need a special place. You do not need hours of practice. You only need one thing, the ability to stop and notice. Try it now. Breathe in, breathe out. Feel the breath in your nose, in your chest, in your belly. That breath is real. That breath is now. If a thought comes, notice it, then return to the breath. This is all meditation is, returning again and again, without frustration, without expectation. Some days, the mind will be quiet. Other days, it will be loud. It does not matter. The only thing that matters is that you show up. With time, something changes. The overthinking mind starts losing its grip. The thoughts still come, but they do not pull you in. You see them, but you do not become them. You understand. Thoughts are just passing things. They are not you. And when this happens, something magical appears. Space. Space between thoughts. Space between reactions. Space between emotions. And in that space, peace. This is why meditation is a tool for overthinking. It does not erase thoughts. It does not stop the mind from working. It simply shows you how to step back, how to create space, how to stop identifying with every passing thought. Because the truth is, you are not your thoughts. You are the one watching them. So sit, breathe, watch, and see how the mind begins to quiet. Not because you forced it, but because you finally stopped trying. Compassion, replacing self-criticism with kindness. Sit for a moment. Breathe in, breathe out. Feel the weight of your body resting where you are. Now, ask yourself, how do you speak to yourself in your mind? Are you kind, or are you harsh? Most people do not realize how cruel they are to themselves. When they make a mistake, they say, "I'm so stupid." When they fail, they whisper, "I'll never be good enough." Even when they are doing fine, there is a voice inside that says, "You should be better." This voice is always demanding, always criticizing, never satisfied. But let me ask you, would you speak to a friend like this? If your friend was struggling, would you tell them, "You are a failure. You should have done better"? No. You would comfort them, tell them it's okay, remind them that mistakes happen. So why do you treat yourself differently? Overthinking and self-criticism go hand in hand. When you overthink, you are often searching for flaws, looking for ways you could have done better, punishing yourself for things that have already passed. You replay moments in your head, picking them apart, as if thinking hard enough will change the past. But the past is gone. No amount of thinking can bring it back. Buddhism teaches that compassion is the antidote to this suffering, and it starts with yourself. You must learn to speak to yourself with kindness, to let go of the endless judgment, to forgive yourself as you would forgive a friend. Imagine a child learning to walk. They take a few steps, stumble and fall. Would you yell at them? Would you say, "You should have walked perfectly"? No, you would smile, encourage them, help them stand again. This is how you must treat yourself. Life is full of stumbling, but every fall is a lesson. There is a story in Zen Buddhism. A monk was carrying a heavy sack of rice up a mountain. He was struggling, sweating, exhausted. Another monk saw him and asked, "Why do you carry such a heavy load?" The first monk sighed and said, "Because it is mine to carry." The second monk nodded and said, "Yes, but have you ever considered carrying it with kindness?" You see, suffering does not only come from what we carry. It comes from how we carry it. When you make a mistake, do you carry it with kindness or with cruelty? Do you allow yourself to learn and move on? Or do you punish yourself again and again? Your mind believes what you tell it. If you always say, "I am not good enough," your mind will believe it. If you say, "I am trying my best, and that is enough," your mind will believe that too. The words you choose matter. But you might ask, if I stop being hard on myself, won't I become lazy? Won't I stop improving? No. In fact, the opposite is true. A person who feels safe, who feels supported, learns faster than a person who is afraid of failure. A mind full of kindness is clearer than a mind full of fear. Growth happens naturally when there is space for it. Compassion does not mean making excuses. It does not mean ignoring mistakes. It means seeing mistakes clearly, learning from them, and moving forward without shame. Regret is useful only for a moment, long enough to learn. After that, it becomes a prison. So how do you practice compassion for yourself? First, notice your thoughts. When you catch yourself being harsh, pause. Take a breath. Ask, would I say this to someone I love? If the answer is no, then change the thought. Speak to yourself with the same kindness you would give to a dear friend. Second, forgive yourself. Whatever happened, happened. Carrying guilt does not erase it. Holding on to shame does not make you a better person. The only thing that truly matters is what you do next. The present moment is always fresh, always new. Every breath is a chance to begin again. Third, accept that you are human. Perfection is an illusion. Even the Buddha himself made mistakes before he reached enlightenment. The path is full of missteps, but each one brings wisdom. Be patient with yourself. Growth is not a straight line. It is a winding road, full of turns and lessons. And finally, extend your compassion to others. When you are kind to yourself, it becomes easier to be kind to the world. When you stop judging yourself so harshly, you stop judging others too. The more love you give, the more love you feel. In the end, overthinking is not just a problem of too many thoughts. It is a problem of too little kindness. When you replace judgment with understanding, when you replace punishment with patience, the mind softens, the storm settles, and peace begins to grow. So the next time your thoughts become heavy, the next time your mind becomes restless, pause. Take a deep breath. Speak to yourself as you would speak to someone you love. And remember, you deserve kindness too. Right view, shifting perspectives for inner peace. Do you know what the real problem is? It is not overthinking itself. It is not even the thoughts that pass through your mind. The real problem is how you see them. Your perspective, your view, decides whether a thought is just a passing cloud or a storm that never ends. Imagine two people stuck in traffic. One is frustrated, checking the clock every second, their mind racing with irritation. Why is this happening? I'm going to be late. This always happens to me. The other person, sitting in the same traffic, takes a deep breath and accepts it. This is just how it is. I'll get there when I get there. The situation is the same. The difference is perspective. Now, think about your own mind. When thoughts come, do you resist them? Do you argue with them? Do you believe that every single thought is important? What if you could see them differently? What if, instead of treating them like absolute truths, you saw them as passing waves in the ocean? Buddhism teaches right view, a way of seeing reality clearly. It is not about forcing yourself to think positive thoughts. It is about understanding thoughts for what they really are, temporary, fleeting, and often not even real. How many times have you worried about something that never happened? How many times have you replayed a conversation in your mind, only to realize later that the other person wasn't even thinking about it? Thoughts pretend to be important, but most of them are just noise. Right view is about recognizing this. It is about stepping back and saying, this is just a thought. I don't have to believe it. I don't have to follow it. A thought appears. What if I fail? With wrong view, you believe it immediately. Oh no, I might fail. I should worry about this. I need to plan for every possible disaster. With right view, you pause. This is just a thought. Failure is just a possibility, not a fact. Worrying won't change anything. Do you see the difference? The first response traps you in a cycle of fear. The second frees you. Your mind is like a radio playing in the background. Some stations play peaceful music. Others are full of static. Some are pure noise. But you get to choose which one you listen to. Right view means realizing that not every thought deserves your attention. Let's take another example. Imagine a friend walks past you without saying hello. Wrong view. Did I do something wrong? Are they mad at me? Maybe they don't like me anymore. Right view. Maybe they just didn't see me. Maybe they are lost in their own thoughts. Which one feels lighter? Which one brings peace instead of stress? Right view is about questioning the stories your mind tells you. Not believing every thought. Not assuming the worst. Not letting imagination create suffering where there is none. The Buddha once said, with our thoughts, we make the world. If you fill your mind with fear, you live in a world of fear. If you fill it with doubts, everything will seem uncertain. But if you train your mind to see thoughts clearly, you will see reality as it is, not as your fears paint it. Does this mean you should ignore your thoughts? No. Right view is not about ignoring reality. It is about seeing it clearly. If you have a real problem, you solve it. But if you are just stuck in imaginary worries, why carry that weight? Ask yourself, is this thought helping me? Or is it just making me suffer? Most overthinking comes from wrong perception. You assume someone is judging you when they aren't. You assume you are failing when you are not. You assume life is against you when it is just moving as it always has. Right view is about seeing things as they are, not as your fears make them seem. Now, let's go deeper. Imagine you are standing in front of a mirror. You see your reflection, but is it you? No. It is just an image, a reflection of reality. Thoughts are the same. They reflect reality, but they are not reality itself. Just because a thought appears does not mean it is true. Just because your mind says, "I am not good enough," does not mean that it is a fact. Would you let a stranger on the street decide how you feel about yourself? No? Then why let every thought in your mind do it? Right view is about choosing which thoughts to believe. Here's something powerful. You don't have to fight overthinking. You just have to see it clearly. When a thought comes, ask yourself, is this true? Is this useful? Is this helping me or hurting me? If it is not true, let it go. If it is not useful, move on. If it is hurting you, why hold on to it? A cloud passes through the sky. Do you chase it? No. You let it pass. A wave comes and goes in the ocean. Do you try to stop it? No. You let it rise and fall. Thoughts are the same. Let them pass. Let them rise and fall. Right view is about seeing thoughts as temporary, not permanent. Imagine how much lighter life would be if you stopped believing every single thought that entered your mind. Imagine how much peace you would feel if you could step back and just watch your thoughts instead of being controlled by them. This is possible. This is what Buddhism teaches. And the best part? You can start right now. The next time a thought appears, instead of reacting, just observe it. Notice it. See it for what it is, a passing visitor, not the master of your mind. Right view is not just about changing how you think. It is about changing how you see thinking itself. And once you do, overthinking will no longer have power over you. Acceptance, embracing life as it is. Sit down for a moment. Take a deep breath. Feel the air enter your lungs, and then let it go. This breath, this simple movement of life, is happening right now. Not in the past, not in the future, just now. But how often do we truly live in this moment? How often do we allow things to be as they are, instead of wishing they were different? The mind is always fighting. It argues with reality. It clings to what it wants and rejects what it does not. This shouldn't have happened. Why is life like this? I don't want to feel this way. But tell me, has resisting reality ever made you happy? Has wishing for things to be different ever brought you peace? Life is like a river. It flows whether you like it or not. You can fight against the current, struggle, and exhaust yourself. Or you can let go, allow the water to carry you, and find ease in the movement. This is acceptance. It is not giving up. It is seeing life clearly, without resistance, without wishing it were something else. Imagine you planned a picnic. The sun was supposed to shine. The breeze was supposed to be gentle. Everything was supposed to be perfect. But then, it rains. Now, what do? You can sit there, angry at the sky, upset that your plans are ruined. Or you can accept the rain, feel its coolness on your skin, and maybe even enjoy it. Life is always raining when we expect sunshine. The question is, will you suffer, or will you dance in the rain? Many people misunderstand acceptance. They think it means doing nothing, being passive, allowing life to control them. No, true acceptance is the opposite. It is seeing things clearly so you can respond with wisdom. If you deny reality, you cannot change it. But if you accept what is happening, you gain power over how you move forward. Think about your past. How many times have you wished things were different? I should have done this. They shouldn't have treated me that way. If only things had gone another way. But no amount of thinking will ever change the past. It has already happened. It is like looking at the sky and demanding the stars to rearrange themselves. It will never work. So why waste energy fighting what cannot be changed? The Buddha taught that suffering comes from attachment, not just attachment to things, but to how we think life should be. We create pictures in our minds of how life is supposed to go, how people should act, how we ought to feel. Then when reality does not match the picture, we suffer. But life does not follow our pictures. It follows its own nature, its own flow. If someone insults you, you may feel pain. That is natural. But if you hold on to the insult, replay it in your mind, get angry about it for days, you are creating suffering. The words were spoken once, but you relive them 1,000 times. Why? Because the mind refuses to accept that it happened. Now, what if you could accept it? What if you could say, yes, they insulted me. It happened. Now, I move on. Wouldn't that be freedom? Acceptance does not mean you must like what happens. It simply means you stop fighting reality. It means you stop carrying the burden of what you wish had happened, and instead focus on what is. Try something. Think of a painful memory, something you have been holding on to. Now, instead of pushing it away, instead of wishing it never happened, just say to yourself, "It happened. I accept it." Feel how that changes things. Feel how resistance fades. The moment you accept, the moment you stop arguing with reality, the weight begins to lift. Even pain becomes easier with acceptance. Imagine you are holding a hot coal in your hand. It burns, it hurts, but you refuse to let go. You keep gripping it, thinking about how unfair it is that you have to hold it. But what happens when you accept that you don't need to hold it? What happens when you simply open your hand and let it drop? The pain disappears. Life is the same way. The more you resist, the more you suffer. The more you accept, the more you heal. Acceptance is not just about the past. It is about the present too. Right now, whatever you are feeling, stress, sadness, anger, confusion, accept it. Do not push it away. Do not label it as good or bad. Just notice it. This is what I feel right now. That is enough. The moment you accept your feelings, they lose their power over you. Think of a storm in the sky. The clouds come, the winds howl, the rain pours. But the sky does not fight the storm. It allows it to pass. And once it is passed, the sky is still there, open and endless. Your mind is the same. Your thoughts, your emotions, they are like storms. They come and go. But when you accept them, instead of fighting them, they pass more easily. Some people say, "But what if I accept something bad? What if I accept failure, or loneliness, or loss?" Listen carefully. Acceptance does not mean you stop trying. It means you see things as they are, not as you wish them to be. If you accept that you failed, you can learn and improve. If you accept that you are lonely, you can take steps to change that. If you accept loss, you can begin to heal. A person drowning in quicksand struggles, fights, panics, and sinks deeper. But the one who stops struggling, who relaxes, who accepts the situation, finds that they float. Life is the same. The more you resist, the harder it becomes. The more you accept, the lighter you feel. Now, ask yourself, what are you fighting? What are you resisting? What pain are you holding on to because you refuse to accept it? Take a deep breath. Whatever it is, let it be. Just for this moment, let go of the need to change it, to fix it, to make it different. Just allow it to exist. You will feel something strange, peace, because the moment you stop resisting, the moment you stop demanding life to be something else, you free yourself. And freedom is the gateway to true happiness. Acceptance is not weakness. It is strength. It is wisdom. It is the key to a peaceful mind. And when you learn to accept, life itself becomes lighter, simpler, and more beautiful. So, take another breath and let it be. The practice, applying Buddhist wisdom to daily life. Do not seek peace only in words. Do not wait for wisdom to come from books. If you wish to be free from overthinking, you must walk the path. Thinking about peace is not peace. Reading about mindfulness is not mindfulness. You must live it. You must practice. Many people hear wise words and nod in agreement. Yes, this makes sense, they say. But when life becomes difficult, they forget. They let their thoughts control them. They let small worries grow into mountains. They let their mind drag them into suffering over and over again. This is why understanding is not enough. Only practice can bring change. Imagine a man standing at the edge of a river, dying of thirst. He watches the water. He studies how it flows. He speaks about its beauty. But he never bends down to drink. His thirst will not end unless he takes the water into his hands and drinks deeply. Wisdom is the same. If you do not practice, it remains outside of you. So how do you practice? How do you take Buddhist wisdom and make it part of your daily life? The answer is simple, yet difficult. Do not wait for the right moment. Every moment is the right moment. You do not need a quiet mountain to practice mindfulness. You do not need long hours of meditation to find peace. Your life is the perfect place to begin. Every step you take, every breath you breathe, every thought that arises, these are your teachers. When you wake up in the morning, before your mind fills with plans and worries, pause. Take a deep breath. Feel the air enter your body. Let it go. Do not rush to check your phone. Do not let the world pull you away from yourself. Just be still, even for a few moments. When you eat, do not eat with your hands alone. Eat with your mind. Notice the taste, the texture, the warmth. Do not let your thoughts pull you into distraction. Be fully where you are. A meal eaten in mindfulness is more nourishing than a feast eaten in anxiety. When you walk, do not walk as if you were chasing something. Walk as if you have arrived. Feel your feet touch the ground. Feel the air against your skin. Walk as if every step is enough. Because it is. And when thoughts arise, because they will, do not fight them. Do not say, I must not think. This is also a form of overthinking. Instead, see the thought. Acknowledge it. Do not follow it. Do not push it away. Let it be, like a cloud passing in the sky. Most suffering does not come from thoughts themselves. It comes from the way we react to them. A thought is just a thought, but when you believe in it, when you give it power, it becomes a storm. But remember, no storm lasts forever. Imagine standing in front of a mirror. If you move too close, your breath fogs the glass. You cannot see clearly, but if you take a step back, the reflection becomes clear. The mind is the same. Step back from your thoughts. Do not cling to them. Do not resist them. Just observe. Clarity will come. Practice does not mean perfection. It does not mean you will never overthink again. Even the most enlightened ones had thoughts. The difference is, they did not become trapped by them. They learned to see thoughts as they are, impermanent, fleeting, harmless. One day, a student asked a Zen master, "How can I stop my thoughts?" The master smiled and said, "Why do you want to stop them? Let them come. Let them go. Just do not serve them tea. You see, thoughts will always come. That is the nature of the mind. But you do not have to entertain them. You do not have to invite them in, feed them, give them a seat at your table. When you learn this, overthinking loses its power. But remember, practice is not something you do once. It is something you return to, again and again. Some days, it will feel easy. Other days, it will feel impossible. That is natural. Keep going. Even when the mind is restless, even when the thoughts are loud, return to your breath. Return to the present moment. That is enough. At the end of the day, wisdom is not in the words. It is in the way you live. If you do not apply these teachings, they remain as empty ideas. But if you bring them into your daily life, if you practice with every step, every breath, every moment, you will find that peace is not something far away. It is here. It has always been here. Do not wait. Begin now, because this moment, this breath, this life, this is your practice. Conclusion: walking the path to a peaceful mind. Sit down for a moment. Take a deep breath. Feel the air entering your lungs, then slowly leaving. This moment, right now, is all there is. Everything else, the past, the future, the worries, the regrets, they are just thoughts. Thoughts come and go like waves on the ocean, but you are not the waves. You are the ocean. You have walked a long path. From the first moment of recognizing how overthinking traps the mind to learning the wisdom of impermanence, mindfulness, non-attachment, balance, meditation, compassion, right view, and acceptance, you have taken steps toward freedom. But now, the real question arises: what will you do with this wisdom? Many people learn things, but few truly practice them. The mind craves knowledge, but real change comes only from experience. You can read about how to stop overthinking, but unless you truly apply these teachings in your daily life, the mind will continue its endless cycle. So, what will you choose? Will you let your thoughts control you, or will you take control of your thoughts? Overthinking is like carrying a heavy bag filled with stones. Every regret, every fear, every "what if" is another stone weighing you down. No one is forcing you to carry this bag. You picked it up yourself, and you can put it down whenever you choose. But most people don't. They hold on tightly, afraid of what will happen if they let go. But tell me, what happens when you drop the bag? You become free. Freedom is not found in controlling every thought, every situation, or every outcome. Freedom is found in letting go. It is found in trusting that whatever comes, you will handle it. It is found in knowing that you do not need to solve every problem before it happens. It is found in being present, right here, right now. The Buddha once said, Your worst enemy cannot harm you as much as your own thoughts. Think about that. No one outside of you can hurt you as much as the thoughts inside your mind. But what if those thoughts were no longer your enemy? What if they became nothing more than passing clouds in the sky? Something you observe, but do not hold on to. Some will say, it's not that easy. But who said it has to be hard? The mind makes things difficult, but life itself is simple. A bird does not overthink whether it should fly. A tree does not regret shedding its leaves. A river does not worry about the path ahead. They simply are. They move with the flow of nature, without resistance, without struggle. And so can you. Now, take another deep breath. Look around you. Everything you need to be at peace is already here. You do not need more time. You do not need to fix everything first. You only need to decide. Will you continue the cycle of overthinking, or will you step off the wheel and walk a new path? There is nothing left to overthink. You already know what must be done. Observe your thoughts, but do not become them. Let go of attachment, and you will find peace. Trust in the present moment, and you will find freedom. This is the path. Walk it well. There are so many views on this channel, but only 0.2% subscribe. If this journey has helped you, if you found even one piece of wisdom that touched your heart, then don't forget, like, comment, share, and subscribe to our channel. Your support helps us continue sharing these teachings. And now, tell us in the comments, which lesson helped you the most? Which one will you carry forward in your life? Let's keep this journey going together. This is not the end. This is just the beginning. The journey beyond overthinking. A Zen master's final words. Sit down, breathe, be still. You have reached the end of this teaching, yet the path still stretches before you. The journey of the mind does not end with understanding. It begins with practice. Knowledge is like a lantern in the dark, but if you do not walk forward, you will remain in the same place, only illuminated by light that does not move. Overthinking is not just a habit. It is a deeply ingrained way of being. The restless mind has been conditioned over years, perhaps even lifetimes, to analyze, worry, and attach itself to things that do not exist. This is why a single teaching is not enough. Even 1,000 words will not help unless you apply them. So, let us go deeper. Beyond the surface of the mind, beyond simple advice. Let us step into a space where thoughts dissolve like mist in the morning sun. The illusion of thought. Overthinking feels real. It feels urgent. The mind convinces you that you must think everything through, that you must analyze every detail before acting, that you must control every outcome. But tell me, how much of what you overthink about actually happens? You spend hours worrying about the future, yet when the future arrives, it is never quite what you expected. You replay past mistakes, but does reliving them ever change them? The mind is clever. It creates a false sense of control by keeping you trapped in endless cycles of thought. But thought is just an illusion. It is not the world. It is only a reflection of the world, distorted by your fears, desires, and memories. The more you feed it, the stronger it grows. But if you step back, if you simply observe, you will see the truth. You are not your thoughts. You are the one watching them. Overthinking versus awareness. Most people think too much because they are trying to solve a problem that does not exist. The mind searches for certainty, but life itself is uncertain. Have you ever noticed that overthinking does not happen when you are fully present? When you are watching the sunset, feeling the breeze, listening to music that moves your soul. Where is overthinking then? It disappears. Why? Because the mind is only restless when it is disconnected from the present. The moment you return to awareness, overthinking loses its power. Try this now. Look around you. Name 5 things you see. Listen. What sounds do you hear? Feel your breath. Is it deep or shallow? For that moment, overthinking stops. Not because you forced it to, but because you brought your mind home, to the present. This is your natural state. Thought is a visitor. Awareness is your true self. The power of letting go. A man once came to the Buddha, troubled by his thoughts. He said, "I want peace, but my mind will not stop." The Buddha simply replied, "Let go." The man asked, "But what if my thoughts return?" The Buddha smiled and said again, "Let go." The man protested, "How many times must I let go?" The Buddha answered, until there is nothing left to hold on to. Overthinking is like holding onto a rope that is burning your hands. You grip it tighter, believing that if you just think harder, analyze more, you will find relief. But relief does not come from thinking more. It comes from letting go. Let go of the need to control. Let go of the need to be perfect. Let go of the idea that you must solve everything. When you release, you will find that everything you were searching for was already here. The middle way, thinking without overthinking. Does this mean you should never think? No. Thinking is not the problem. Attachment to thought is. The mind is a tool. It is useful when used wisely, but suffering begins when you become lost in it. The middle way teaches us balance. Think when needed, but do not dwell. Plan for the future, but do not live there. Reflect on the past, but do not be trapped by it. Use thought as a servant, not as your master. The practice, living beyond thought. Now, I will not leave you with only words. Words are like maps. They point the way, but you must walk the path yourself. So here are practices you can begin today. 1. The one-breath meditation. Whenever you catch yourself overthinking, stop, take one deep breath. Feel it enter your body, feel it leave. Even if you cannot meditate for hours, you can do this one breath at a time. This is how you break the cycle, one small moment of awareness at a time. 2. The 5 sense technique. When lost in thought, bring yourself back with your senses. See. Name one thing you can see. Hear. Focus on one sound. Feel. Notice the temperature on your skin. Smell. Is there a scent in the air? Taste. Is there any lingering taste in your mouth? These 5 steps pull you back into the present. Overthinking cannot survive in presence. 3. The will this matter? Question. Ask yourself, will this matter in a week? Will this matter in a month? Will this matter in a year? Most of what we overthink about is temporary. When you see how small your worries truly are, they lose their power. 4. The 3-second rule. If a thought arises that does not serve you, give yourself 3 seconds to let it go. Imagine writing it on a piece of paper and watching the wind carry it away. Thoughts only stay if you hold on to them. The final lesson. You are already free. The mind will try to convince you that peace is something you must work for, that you must achieve something, fix something, become someone different before you can be free. But listen closely. You do not need to become anything. You only need to remember who you are. You are not your thoughts. You are not your worries. You are the awareness that watches them. Overthinking will not end overnight. But every time you step back, every time you let go, every time you return to presence, you weaken its hold. And one day, without even trying, you will wake up and realize the storm has passed, the mind is quiet, and in the silence, there is peace. A final request. There are so many views on this channel, but only 0.2% subscribe. If this teaching has helped you, support us. Like, comment, share, and subscribe so we can continue sharing wisdom that helps you grow. And now, let me ask you, what is the one thing you will take from this? What is the one lesson that spoke to your heart? Drop it in the comments below. Let's walk this path together. This is not the end. This is the beginning.